In this short set, we're going to be looking at how the government can support you and where to find companies that will help you search and apply for opportunities. I'm Bud, your host for this short set, and this is How Can the Government Help You? Let's get started. In this short set, we're going to be checking out some of the ways in which the government can support your career and finances and how to search for these opportunities. Government support can be grouped together in three general categories. The first being financial, second being welfare, and third, career. The financial category includes things like benefits, tax credits, grants and bursaries, loans, and other financial support packages. The welfare category includes things like childcare support, mental health services, and finally, the career category, which include things like the National Careers Service, apprenticeship schemes, work experience schemes, and the new Kickstart scheme. Today, we're going to focus on two of those new categories, starting with financial. Grants, bursaries, loans, what's the difference? We'll take a look at benefits a bit later in the set, but for now, let's talk about grants, bursaries, and loans. What do they mean? What's the difference? And where can you find and apply for them? First off, grants and bursaries are the same thing. They can be used interchangeably, so don't get confused if somewhere people use the word grant and elsewhere they use the word bursary. They both mean the same thing. Essentially, they're sums of money that are awarded to people who meet a certain criteria. The key to grants and bursaries is that they don't have to be paid back at any point. Free money, right? However, they usually come with application processes which are sometimes lengthy and in-depth. So be prepared and do your research before applying. They can cover a variety of things, from being vegan to buying school clothing and helping buying books for education. So if there's something that you need money for but can't afford, take a look and see if there's a grant that can help you. An example of a bursary you can apply for today is the 16 to 19 Bursary Fund, which offers up to £1,200 to help with education-related costs if you're between the age of 16 to 19. So that's bursaries, but what about loans? Loans are also sums of money that you can apply for. However, unlike grants and bursaries, loans have to be paid back over an agreed period. You can apply for varying amounts of money, and typically, you'll receive more money than you would from a bursary. However, most lenders will run a credit check on you when you apply, so you're not guaranteed to get the amount you apply for. If you have no credit history, such as monthly payments for phones or bills, companies can often refuse you large amounts of credit. So it's worth thinking about how you can build a good credit score now for the future. Applications for loans are often much simpler than bursaries and will usually only require your personal details and details of your income. Examples of loans are student loan. You can get up to £9,000 a year to cover tuition fees for university. Maintenance loan, up to £12,000 a year for things like rent and transport. All of the above have to be paid back once you finish uni and earn over 25k. An important factor when thinking about applying for loans is to check the interest rate and make sure you can afford the repayments. If for any reason you're unable to pay back the loan, there can be serious financial penalties attached, and it can negatively affect your credit score, which will make it even harder to get things like mobile phone contracts or car leases or a mortgage in the future. If you have taken out a loan and you find that you're in a position where you can no longer afford the repayments, speak to the lender immediately. Often they can freeze the interest rate and give you a cooling off period to help you get back on your feet. Organizations like the Money Advice Service can help you find grants and loans suitable for your needs. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need debt or general money advice, they can offer you support and guidance. Another organization that can help you find grants and bursaries relevant for you is Turn to Us. I sat down with Turn to Us earlier to talk about what opportunities are out there for young people and how to find them. Let's take a look. Hi, Anna. Thanks for joining us on the Government Aid Short Set. Do you want to tell us who you are and what your role is at Turn to Us?
Yeah, my name's Anna and I'm a welfare benefit specialist. That means I know all about how the benefit system works because it can be kind of complicated as a system. And I work for a charity called Turn to Us, which is a national charity which helps people who are going through tough times financially. We want to make sure that when people have life-changing events that affects their finances, they're able to get through that and they're able to thrive.
Nice. So, for people out there who are watching, how do they use your website to find these opportunities?
They've got a few options, so we offer two main tools. The first is our benefits calculator. So you can put in all your details and it'll tell you what benefits you're entitled to. Because it can feel like a real minefield when you're looking for help. The benefit system is really complicated. You simply don't know what you're entitled to and what you should claim. The other thing we offer is a tool called the Grant Search. So all across the UK, there's loads and loads of charities that give grants. The grant is like a present of some money. Most of these have quite specific criteria for who they're able to help. So if you put in your circumstances, we'll be able to find charities that are able to help people like you.
Amazing. I love it. It's almost like a kind of a Google Maps where you type in your postcode and a bit of information about you, and you get some real targeted results instead of just a sea of 75,000 Google pages with a billion results that happen to have the word grant.
Yeah, exactly. So we do some of that work of working out what help is actually going to be available to you as an individual.
Love it. So helpful. So talk to me about Universal Credit in Kickstart. What is it and who can apply?
Yeah, so we'll start with Universal Credit. So Universal Credit is a benefit that is for people who don't have a lot of savings and don't have a great deal of income. And the way Universal Credit works is it compares what the government thinks you need to live off with what the government thinks you have coming in. And it can be used as an out-of-work benefit, so you can get it if you're out of work, but you can also get it if you're in work, but you're not earning enough to get by on. And the Kickstart scheme is a scheme that the government has brought in because they're looking to address what is really a crisis in employment for young people right now because of the coronavirus crisis. It has hit young people's incomes really, really badly. And of course, that's a big concern. So they've brought in this scheme called the Kickstart scheme. And the way that works is that the government is paying employers to take on young people for 6-month high quality placements. So the employer will get money to cover all the wages of the young person they employ. So they get a free member of staff and the young person gets a high quality 6-month training placement. It's win-win for everyone, right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's only available to young people who are on Universal Credit at the time when they join it. And it looks at the moment like work coaches are going to be how you access that scheme. So anyone who's on Universal Credit should be able to speak with their work coach and ask to be put forward for a placement on the Kickstart scheme. The other thing to think about is that for young people who have disabilities, they won't have a work coach. So they might need to be a bit more assertive about making these opportunities available to them. So putting messages on their journal saying, I've seen these opportunities. I think they'd be great for me. How do I go about getting onto this scheme?
Some really great advice there. And thanks for highlighting some potential issues for some people out there. Last question then. What are your top tips for people who are currently looking for opportunities?
So first off, don't panic. I know it's really scary and it can feel really demoralizing being out of work. I've been in that position myself, and it was really tough. But don't worry if you do need to claim benefits. Don't worry about people judging you. The benefit system is there to provide a helpline, a support whenever anyone's in trouble. So don't let that stigma that some people do attach to the benefit system, don't let that put you off. Don't let yourself think that people will judge you. You wouldn't feel judged for going to A&E when you had an accident. You shouldn't feel judged for needing to have some help from the benefit system in the middle of a pandemic. So
yeah, so true.
There is help available to you and it is for you. So check what benefits you're entitled to, check if there's charities that might be able to give you a grant to support you. Do be careful about your budgeting. There's a lot of budgeting support out there, so if you're struggling for money, do access that support. Again, don't feel like you're going to be judged, because that's not what any of these organisations are about at all. Next top tip, there are a lot of people applying for jobs at the moment, so it is going to be a bit of a numbers game, but don't let yourself get demoralised. Do keep on applying. At some point, that will pay off for you.
Perfect. Even more great advice there. And I love those top tips. We're going to look at two of the things that we just touched on briefly: Universal Credit and Kickstart. Some of you might have already heard about Universal Credit, but for those who haven't, Universal Credit is a monthly payment system that has merged the following benefits into one. This includes child tax credit, housing benefit, income support, income-based job seekers allowance, income-based employment and support allowance, and working tax credit. A full list of eligibility is available on the Gov.uk website, but in short, you might be eligible for Universal Credit if you're on a low income, out of work, or cannot work. You also have to be 18 and over, living in the UK, and have less than 16 grand in savings. To apply, you can head to the Gov.uk website and apply online. You'll need a few things ready before you start your application, so check the following list to make sure you're prepared. There are also a few key things to bear in mind if you're planning on applying. First, the application process is online, so you'll need a way of getting online to complete the form. Second, it's a 5-week wait before your first payment. Third, if you're claiming for childcare costs, you can get up to 85% of the costs. However, you will have to pay for them first and then claim the money back. And lastly, the money must be paid into a bank account. So if you haven't already got one, check out the link in the takeaway for info on how to set up your first bank account. So that's Universal Credit, but what about Kickstart? Here's a short video explaining Kickstart and who it's for.
A new programme to give hundreds of thousands of young people in every region and nation of Britain the best possible chance of getting on and getting a job.
The Kickstart scheme is a £2 billion fund to create hundreds of thousands of high-quality 6-month work placements for young people. Funding available for each job will cover the relevant national minimum wage for 25 hours a week, plus the associated employer national insurance contributions and employer minimum automatic enrolment contributions. There will also be funding available to support young people to develop new skills and to help them move into sustained employment after they have completed their Kickstart-funded job. Employers from all industries and across the private, public and voluntary sectors will be able to get involved. Through the scheme, you'll be able to access a large pool of young people with potential, ready for the opportunity. We will soon be calling for employers to bid to be involved in the scheme, with the first placements expected to begin in November.
The Chancellor's announcement has made me feel more confident in going into my first job.
£2 billion is quite a large sum, and I was almost surprised to see that amount of money was being put into young people and their future jobs.
It's just great to hear that the government do still care about my sort of age group.
As you can see from the video there, Kickstart is a government scheme as part of the Plan for Jobs. It's a 6-month paid job with a local employer, funded by the government, and it provides you with an opportunity to get experience in the world of work. To be eligible for Kickstart, you must be between 16 and 24 years old, claiming Universal Credit, and be at risk of long-term unemployment. The jobs will be paid at the national minimum wage for your age, which is £8.72 if you're 25 and over, £8.20 if you're between 21 and 24, and £6.40 if you're under 18. There will also be funding to support you to build your experience and help you move into sustained employment after you've completed the Kickstart scheme. That's all we have time for in today's short set. I hope you enjoyed it and gained some new insight into ways in which the government can support you, as well as how to find those opportunities and apply for them. For more information on this topic, see the takeaway at the end of the set. Also, don't forget to check out the Apprentice Nation website for more sets and webinars. If you want to learn more about mental health and resilience, check out What is Resilience short set by Amani. I've been your host, Bud. Thanks for joining me.